Hi guys, thanks for tuning in. This is the official launch of my YouTube channel. It's sort of a spin-off from my hair care blog, which is written. It's zhaircare@wordpress.com. I thought this would be a great platform to spin off into, because sometimes some of my followers, they want some demonstrations, or they want to have a clearer idea of what I'm doing or what I'm trying to explain. So I thought it would be really great for that. And occasionally I might have a few makeup tutorials or swatches or really anything that interests me. So please be sure to subscribe and like my posts. That would be really great. So I thought I'd start off today with the Q&A, because I found that more and more my followers on my other social media like Instagram were asking a lot of questions about me that were sort of in the same genre of trying to get to know me better. So I thought this would, once I got to like 20,000 followers, that I would have enough of a body of questions that I would be able to answer them holistically and just get an idea of what it is that people really want to know. Because so many questions came in both regarding my hair care blog and me personally, I decided to split this series into two parts. So today I will be answering the general questions about me, and then the next video will then answer the hair care questions. So I'll get started right away. I have the questions here on my trusty iPad. Okay, so the first question is, where are you from? I was born in the Eastern Cape. I'm from the Eastern Cape at St. Mary's Hospital in a little town called Mthatha. I then went to high school at DSG in Grahamstown for a bit and matriculated in Bloemfontein when my family moved there. Then I went to university at the University of Cape Town to do my law degree. And then after that I went to the Constitutional Court to clerk for one of the justices there. Currently I am doing my master's degree with a specialization in corporate and commercial law at Duke University in America. For those who have been asking, yes, I am coming back, guys. I'm coming back next year in May, so yeah, no need to be alarmed. Wait, I'll be right there. Yeah, so that's where I'm from. The next question is, how did you choose the handle Nomazeezee? Well, first of all, Nomazeezee denotes the clan name, that my clan name, the clan that I'm from, which is the Dlamini clan. And also Nomazeezee is my actual name. It's my second name on my ID, my passport, my driver's license, everything. I was named after my dad's eldest sister, who's my eldest aunt. So because it's my second name, I wanted, and it's not really in use that much, it's as meaningful to me as my first name. I wanted to keep it in use and just give it that meaning. So generally on my social media platforms I go by Nomazeezee because it is in fact my name. The next question is, how did you get followers on Instagram? Okay, so right now I'm on 24,000 followers, I think. Most of which have come in recent months. I can't say that I'm much of an expert on gathering Instagram followers, so I had to ask around, ask some of my friends who've got bigger accounts than I do and who've made more deliberate efforts to get followers. And really what consistently came across from them was that if you have to choose something that you're interested in, and if you're consistent about that, the likelihood is that there are a lot of like-minded people who will take interest and follow you. That's more or less all I can really say about that. And I think really a great rule of thumb is to post what you would want to see. That's the reason I follow accounts, and I'm sure that's the reason many of you follow accounts. So if you're consistent and it's something that you're interested in, so you can be consistent, I would say just find what you're interested in and just be on that grind. I've watched a lot of people's accounts grow, very quickly because they were doing that, and it seemed to work out very well. But I personally don't do that. It's not a deliberate effort. If you go look at my page, you'll see it's not curated at all. It's very spontaneous. I post my life and what interests me at that time. I find that because I'm a full-time student, or when I'm not a student, I'm working full-time, it's easier for me to just to post what comes up as it comes up, and that's held me in good stead so far. So yeah, and I mean that's how it stayed fun for me. So if you want a deliberate effort to have a curated page, I would say reach out to the types of people whose pages you would want to emulate, or just for advice. I find that a lot of people tend to be nice. People who are experts in their field, they tend to be nice, and they don't usually have a problem with guiding up and coming types. So yeah, that's what I would suggest. So the next question is, how did you make it to where you are? Okay, well, for starters, I still have a long way to go. Where I am right now is I'm in the very fortunate position of having been able to get a couple of scholarships to further my education and specialize by getting my master's in law. And I would say I've done okay. I've done pretty well for someone in my circumstances, of my age and in my field. And I think really what's held me in good stead this entire time was just, first of all, irreplaceably, is working really, really hard all of the time. A lot of people who are close to me will account to the fact that, I've had to cancel a lot of plans. A lot of time I can't be there for social engagements, or if I am there, I can't stay for very much more than 2 hours. And really, it's because if you set goals for yourself, you really have to put in the maximum effort and the maximum time. And you find that maybe it can happen that a lot of your relationships will suffer if many of the people in your circle aren't from the same profession, or don't have the same kind of demand on your time. So, but I mean, it's always been a non-negotiable, especially at my age. I'm in my 20s, and I'm really trying to make my way up in terms of my career. So hard work is definitely the most important thing. And I think that the next most important thing is really just putting yourself out there and grabbing every opportunity. I found that there's so many people who don't even apply for things or enter competitions because they don't think they would win. They don't think they would get into those situations. And I mean, you can't ever win if you don't play the game. So I would say, put yourself out there, enter the essay competitions, go for the interviews, apply for the jobs, apply, be on the internet, talk to people. A lot of the resources I got in making my way here were through talking to people who were in similar situations, also looking to further their studies. And through an exchange of information, I learned so much that I wouldn't have known if I hadn't told anyone. And that's what helped me to actually be able to come to America. So apart from hard work and grabbing opportunities, I would say perseverance is a necessary addition to make that a trifecta, because the reality is that a lot of the time you will get rejected, you will fail. Failure is a necessary part of success. I can't tell you how many times, I've basically put myself out there, tried something new, or, put myself out for an opportunity, and I've fallen flat on my face. But the important thing is to always get back in the ring. And I'm always extra cautious. I never just apply to one school. I'll apply to 3, 4, 5, however many I can, up to the application fees that I can afford. So so hard work, perseverance, and putting yourself out there, I would say, are the main ingredients to making a success of your efforts. Lastly, I think another thing that helped me was setting very clear goals for myself. I've always been very goal oriented and results oriented. So I think the most important thing is to set signposts for yourself. Like, where do you see, what do you want to have achieved this time next year? What do you want to have been doing this time in 5 years? Where do you see yourself? And once you decide, okay, this is the job that I want, or this is what I want to be studying, or what I want to be doing, then you can devise a strategy with signposts within that ultimate within that timeline, with signposts that tell you that you're making the right sort of progress. Like, if you want to be a partner in a big law firm or a commercial law firm, it would be good to get good grades in your undergrad at a great institution. It couldn't hurt to have a little bit of work experience around that, and maybe, further your education. So you need to understand what's going on in your field, what's important to have on your CV, on the books by the time you do actually go for those opportunities. It's all about preparation. So I would say definitely have those goals, write them down, crystallize them in your mind, and just go for them. It's going to be a long slog, but I mean, when I thought I wanted to be a lawyer years ago, when I was in matric, I started thinking about what I wanted to do and what I would need to have in order to be able to compete at a high level. And luckily, I've always been able to stay focused and to work hard, especially with the support of those around me. So I do hope that those tips are helpful. The next question is, who inspires you? My mom. My mom definitely inspires me. I know it sounds cliche, but my mom is the very best. By profession, she's also a lawyer, and I mean, everything I know and love about the law and about being a woman and about everything really is from her, about being strong and just persevering and taking each day as it comes. She's really been a rock for me, and she inspires me to be the very best that I can be. So definitely my mom, she's a keeper. And in little ways, I'm inspired by the people who are closest to me. Yeah. The last question is, what motivated you to study in America, and how did you get into Duke Law School? Okay, so I decided that I wanted to further my studies shortly after I graduated, but I didn't want to go straight to America. So after I graduated with my LLB, I clerked at the Constitutional Court in Joburg for about a year. And that was really a wonderful experience. And in that time, in the fullness of time, I came to realize that I needed to further my education just a little bit to get a clearer idea of what I wanted to do. So obviously, when I was there, I was really involved in constitutional and administrative law and that body of law. And I thought, because I had spent so much time working so closely in that area, it was time to actually expand my horizons and get an idea of other types of law. And so I decided that I wanted to do my master's in commercial law, corporate and commercial laws, just to be rounded and to have a good idea of what's out there, because up to that point I had been ruling out the areas that I was not interested in. And so I was left with constitutional and admin law and also corporate and commercial. So I decided that the best place to do my master's would of course be in a first world country, simply because the resources there are far greater, and there's so much more to education than just going to class. It's also being in a new place, just expanding your mind and meeting new people. And it was a great decision because I've met so many great, wonderful people from different countries, like everywhere around the world, and I'd like to think I've made lifelong friends, and I've just learned so much in a short space of time, merely by being around people from different countries who have different approaches to the same issues that we face in South Africa. So it's been a great learning experience, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. So I was motivated to study at Duke because it's one of the best schools in America. It's an amazing institution, and anyone would be lucky to go there. I applied to a number of schools, but because further education is so expensive, I had to try to get scholarships. So yeah, there were a lot of factors involved: the quality of the school, the availability of funding depending on where I was going, the cost of living. So those are all considerations to take into account when you are thinking about leaving the country and pursuing an education. For instance, I found that the average year's tuition at these better schools was something around like 1.4 million rand, which is completely prohibitive to most people if you don't have financial funding. So if you don't have financial assistance. So I would say the most important thing before actually even getting in is securing the money, because I knew for me, for example, it just would have been untenable without funding. So, and the funding opportunities, they come up and get filled up before the actual spots in the classes. So it's important to really get on that as soon as possible if further education is something that you're thinking about. How I got to Duke is the good old-fashioned way. I applied and I got in. Some people want more details on that. Really, you can Google it. There's a central database that American law schools use to vet students from all around the world. So you upload your documents there, and if you're a great candidate, they will take you. So again, I was so intimidated applying, because I thought, wow, thousands of people from around the world applying for something like 100 spots in the class. But you know what? If you work hard and you know that you're special, anything is possible. So I would say just dare to be audacious. Think of the most bold goal that you can have, and then just go for it, because even if you don't quite meet it, you'll get somewhere close. So I hope this was really informative. Bye. Don't forget to tune in next time.